Latinos for Trump keep dropping like flies. This is Roberto Mosquera. See what I did there? A Cuban immigrant who is a self-proclaimed super Trump supporter who was recently deported not to Cuba, but to Africa. Check out this video.
Man who immigrated to the U.S. from Cuba when he was 9 is on a hunger strike while in Africa, hoping to get the attention of the man he once supported.
He was very pro-Trump, super Trump supporter.
Monica Mosquera's dad was taken by ICE
A couple days before Father's Day.
Her father, Roberto, went for an annual check-in with immigration agents back in June and was taken into custody. But instead of being deported to his native Cuba, the 58-year-old is one of at least 5 men sent to a maximum security prison in the Kingdom of Eswatini over the summer, a small country in Africa criticized for alleged human rights abuses.
You know it's bad when even Cuba doesn't want you. Cuba was like, nah, we don't want him either. And once again, this is to all Latino for Trump supporters. They do not care about you. You will never be accepted by them. You are expendable to them. But then again, you play silly games, you get silly prizes. But anyway,
I am so sick of watching Black Americans sit there and advise their people not to support the immigration movement that's going on across the entire United States.
Yeah, they're from all over. Where are you guys at? Why are your people not standing with us?
Did you know that Cuban deportees, especially the ones that are political dissidents and the ones seeking asylum in the U.S., face a significant risk of torture when they come back to Cuba? So when we ask ourselves, when will Latinos for Trump open their eyes, specifically the Cuban ones? The answer is they never will. And there's no better example than the Cuban for Trump than El Funky. He's a Cuban rapper that's currently facing deportation and possible imprisonment in Cuba since his music helped fuel anti-government protests in Cuba. Someone that's been really silent about this case is self-hating Marco Rubio, a Cuban himself. It's a perfect illustration of how much Marco Rubio has changed up during the Trump presidency. Even just a year ago, I'm sure Marco Rubio would have been the loudest person about this case. It's also a crazy example of how much Trump has changed up about Cuban immigration policies. For decades, the U.S. has rolled out the red carpet for Cubans, despite Trump refusing to help these Cubans who have overwhelmingly voted for him. They are still very much pro-Trump, including the rapper El Funky. Talk about fucking around and never finding out.
Latinos for Trump thought by aligning themselves with Donald Trump, they would be protected from the ICE harassment. They also believed that distancing themselves from the immigrant label, from Black Americans, and getting closer to whiteness, they would be protected. But that's not the case. As ICE now turns their families apart, many are now begging Black Americans for support and to speak out against the ICE harassment and to join them in the protest. But many Black Americans I've seen, they're telling them that this isn't our fight. This is what you voted for, so deal with it. So let's get to see the reactions, then you come back with commentary. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing so you never miss any update from my videos.
I am so sick of scrolling online and watching Black Americans sit there and advise their people not to support the immigration movement that's going on across the entire United States. What have they done for us? They never supported our protests. Yes, they have. Go watch some old footage. You're going to see people in different shades, different colors, even sizes. It's a beautiful thing. And now I'm not simply going after Black Americans because I'm watching Hispanics, Latinos with legal status that simply just betrayed their people, saying, we don't support this. You know what's crazy? Back in those days, Black Americans weren't the only ones that were fighting for civil rights, for equality. You had the Puerto Ricans, you had the Chicanos, you had Black Americans. And the beautiful thing is that even back in those days, there was unity going on behind closed doors. You had the Chicano movement, the Brown Berets, you had the Puerto Ricans, the Young Lords, you had the Black Panthers, all united. And guess what? Back in those days, you had people like this spreading that same harmful rhetoric. Oh, we shouldn't unite with the Puerto Ricans. Oh, we shouldn't unite with the Chicanos. Yeah, even back in those days, it was happening. If that wasn't the case, those movements would have been a lot larger. But guess what? There was a small group of people that saw the vision, and every time they united, they were successful. And unfortunately, back in those days, it was eventually broken apart when one of the leaders ended up passing away, or they were hit with RICO charges, and eventually they just dispersed. A lot of people don't know this, but back in the day, during Martin Luther King, He understood the vision. He understood and he motivated the Puerto Ricans to form and fight for their civil rights and equality, and the Chicanos. And they did. They formed their stuff. And guess what? I love this quote, and it says a whole lot. It says, "We cannot walk alone. We will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." Martin Luther King. Guess what? These are your neighbors, your friends, and even family. And that type of abandonment is loud. I think all of us felt that type of abandonment throughout our lives at a smaller scale, from friends, betrayal, and so on. You wanted someone to speak up for you, and they didn't. Why would you expect civil rights, equality for your people, but not for everyone else? Doesn't make much sense, does it? See, now we're going backwards. But what they don't want us to do is unite. Because all them streets that you see right now in Los Angeles, New York, and so on, guess what? If we come together, they will be even more full. Every square footage of them streets will be completely covered. And they don't want that.
Why do I keep seeing posts asking where the black community is for the Latinos? Some lady was like, why isn't the black community speaking up for us when we spoke up for y'all during BLM? What? Sorry for being an asshole, but I feel like some of y'all forgetting the reason why you and your marginalized group have rights is because of the Black American civil rights movement. Your parent is illegal, but you were born here, so you're a citizen. Why do you think that was able to happen? It wasn't because of you. It was because of us. Every civil liberty that my grandmother and my great-grandmother and my great-great-great-grandmother had to fight for, y'all voted against. When we were telling you that it would be in your best interest to vote for someone who looked a little bit more like you than a white man. But y'all didn't give a fuck. Remember Latinos for Trump? That's what got y'all here. Why is it my job to save a community that voted against their own right? That voted against their best interest? Why should I save you? You couldn't even save you. Why do we always have to speak up and fight for somebody? Y'all don't fight for us. Then this is coming from a community with a documented history of disliking black people. No shade, like the colorism, the texturism, the me no black. The Hispanic woman coming on the internet unprovoked being like, oh, that's why your men don't like you. Not saying that y'all deserve to get deported, but the man told y'all that this was going to happen. We told y'all that this was going to happen. Other Hispanic people told you that this was going to happen. Now it's happening. Now everybody got a fucking Pikachu face. He's been saying this since 2016. This is not new information. He been deporting people. Been deporting y'all since 2016. This is his third campaign too. This is his third time running for president. Second time winning. I don't know what y'all was expecting to be different from this time, when every single time he tells y'all exactly what he's gonna do, and y'all listen and y'all fall for it. I don't know why y'all thought because y'all got papers y'all were different. You're not different. You're not different. He hates everyone who's not a white man. White man. So yeah, no shade. Stop asking where my black ass is and where my community is. We in the house. We're resting. Black people, do you hear this? We are resting. We are not fighting for anyone who actively won't fight for themselves, because that'd be the problem. Y'all want us to do all the fighting and then y'all just reap the benefits. You're not reaping nothing from my black ass anymore. Thank you.
Yeah, they're from all over. Where are you guys at? Why are your people not standing with us?
Yeah, baby girl, we gonna sit this one out. This has nothing to do with us. You know what gets me is that when y'all are in a time of distress, y'all always looking for black folk to come to the rescue. It's like y'all want us to come in like Captain America, Superman, to come save the day. Nah, baby, we ain't coming to save nobody but ourselves. You hear me? What we are going to be doing is drinking water, herbal teas, staying moisturized, and minding our black business. That's what we going to be doing. We going to have our boots to the ground, baby. And we going to be line dancing. We going to be flapping the fan around. We going to be having a good time. That's what we going to be doing. And you know what gets me and how ironic is that when we're the ones that's under attack, you all remain silent. Y'all get quiet. But now that y'all under attack, y'all expect the whole gathering, a kumbaya meeting and everything. Nah, baby girl, we gonna be chilling. We gonna sit this one out. But good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Help me! Help me! You can hope all you want that Latinos for Trump are going to fuck around and find out now that the Supreme Court has ruled that ICE can racially profile people on the street if they look like illegal aliens. But it doesn't matter, because Latinos for Trump have been pretending like they are white, assimilating into white culture so long that they think they look white and they don't think they're going to be racially profiled. They don't think they stick out to ICE. They have whitewash goggles so badly that they think to a gang of ICE agents that they look like a white person. Don't get started on me about this whole, this white girl's talking out of pocket, doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm Cuban American. I'm very acutely and intimately aware of the thought processes going on here. You can bark at them all they want about, oh, look what you've done now. Look what you've done now. Now you're a target. Now you're a target. You can be racially profiled. They don't give a damn. They don't give a rat's ass. I know this particular niche issue doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things because the Supreme Court did indeed just strip away civil rights from everyone in this country, especially those that are black and brown. But, to me, it kind of matters. They voted for this, yes. They've done this to themselves, but they still don't give a shit. They still don't think anything's going to happen to them. They're sitting around watching other Latinos with legal status and naturalized citizenships getting snatched up off the street and sent to El Salvador. They don't give a damn. They don't even believe that stuff is happening, much less believe that it's going to happen to them now that the Supreme Court said it was okay.
So this is a message for Hispanic people or Latina people, not just the white presenting Latinos, all of them, including the more Afro Latinos, when it comes to this whole deportation thing and solidarity with the black community. You guys have no right to be angry at black people who choose not to want to support or have solidarity with you. And the only reason why I say this is because the amount and level of disrespect that we Black Americans have suffered from the Hispanic community when we tried to have solidarity in the past is astronomical. And you guys know about that disrespect, because try being a Latina woman with your whole family and bring home a black man as your boyfriend and tell them that you want to marry him. And how would your family respond to that? Because I know a lot of you, if you brought home a black person, like a Black American, your family is not having that. So how could we possibly have solidarity when the whole family is like, you bring home a black person and it's just like their head starts spinning and they have an issue with that? On top of that, and also what adds insult to injury is basically saying when Hispanic people deny racism, like the fact that they're racist and the fact that they're colorist. The first time that it hit me about the Hispanic racism back in your own countries is when Black Panther, the second Black Panther, came out, and the guy who played Namor, I forgot his name, the guy who played Namor talked about how you guys treat darker skinned people and indigenous people in your own countries, and that mentality, you guys bring it here into this country, especially after we black people have went through a lot of strides in this country to get certain things put in place for civil rights. And instead of leaving that at the door in those countries, you guys bring those mindsets with you.
Okay, y'all, so I just watched 2 different videos of Hispanic women crying. Okay, the first woman, she was crying saying that she regret voting for Trump. She believed everything he said that he was gonna do and blah 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 blah. I don't know if she watched the same things that I watched, but he already said it was gonna be a mass deportation. I don't understand why they acting all confuzzled like that's not what that man said before he got elected. I heard him say it. I know y'all heard him say it. That's why we said we was gonna mind our 92%, because we heard him say what he was gonna do once he got in office, and now he doing what he said he was gonna do, and now everybody acting confuzzled. I'm confused by your confusion, ma'am. Now, the other lady, she is asking for the support of the African-American people, because she said back in the day when slavery was happening, that some of us ran to Mexico and they gave us shelter. And you never know the way everything going on in the future. We may need Mexico again, is what she said. So she don't understand how we not jumping in to help save them. And for my recollection, Black people been considered the bottom of the totem pole for the longest. Even Hispanic people didn't like us that well. It was a whole debacle between being Hispanic and Afro-Latina, because they felt like Afro-Latinas was the bottom of the totem pole. But now you want help from us after we told y'all not to vote for him? We've been asking for decades for people to stand with us and march with us for our rights and Black Lives Matter, and y'all just kept saying all lives matter. But now that it's convenient for y'all want us to say Hispanic lives matters when y'all wouldn't even agree with us that Black lives matter. Again, I'm confused on the confusion about what y'all wanted us to do, because we told y'all we was down the ride and everything, but then when y'all voted for him, when we seen the percentage of how many Hispanic people actually voted for him, we told y'all don't ask us for no help later on. We said this to y'all, but yet now and still y'all want some help from us. We told y'all we was minding our business. I'm confuzzled with you, okay? Now, I'm not saying what he doing is right. I'm not saying that we agree with what he doing. What we saying is we told y'all. So if y'all want any help from us and advice from us, we just gonna tell y'all carry around y'all paperwork, because there's nothing we can do to help y'all, because we told y'all, he told y'all, they told y'all, they all said they was gonna do, and now everybody confused. I'm confused at the confusion. Okay, just carry your paperwork. That's all I can say.
Hey, fellow Latinos, I'm not saying it's okay or right that Black people are like, no, let them fend for themselves. I mean, honestly, it is okay, but I'm not saying like, yes, let's do that, because unity is what helps us. But also, like, I know it's not supposed to be transactional. I just need you guys to start thinking, because you guys are like, you know, all gung-ho, active out there, unified together in the streets now. But where were you when the George Floyd protests were? I personally was out there with my friends who were Asian, Pacific Islander, Mexican, and Puerto Rican, and then I'm Mexican myself, and a white husband. We were out there, okay? And I've gotten comments from people in my community, people in my family, who have been like, well, you think you're Black. What about me? What about my content? What about the way I speak, the way I act? What about you makes you think that I think I'm Black? Oh, because I advocate for Black people too, as much as I advocate for my people? It shouldn't be transactional. You shouldn't have to have a dog in the fight to care. You should just have basic empathy. You should just care about people. You see a sad story, oh, you cry. You want to help out however you can. You guys see that all the time. You see a puppy in danger, oh, let's rescue all the puppies. Why is it so hard to do with humans? Black people don't owe us anything. But even one of the major interviews going around about the guy whose girlfriend was taken because they were just recording, in that, there's a Black man who's in the background, and he's like, si se puede. He's out there. He has nothing to gain from this. So think about that. Don't go back to the anti-Blackness. Learn and stop saying the N-word. Do that. Stop saying the N-word and humble yourself. If Black people tell you something's offensive, change it. Change it and don't become defensive.
On this week's episode of You Have the Audacity To, Latinos asking Black people why they aren't present to help fight against the deportations like Latinos were for the BLM movement. What? The audacity to ask such a question is absolutely insane. First of all, Black people, other Latinos begged you not to vote for this Cheeto. Begged you to vote for your own causes. And yet and still, you voted for him. Now here we are, facing mass deportations, and you have the nerve to question Black people? Not your fellow Latinos who casted the vote, not white people, but Black people. Black people who overwhelmingly went to the polls to support the candidate that they wanted, who didn't say she was going to deport Latinos. Do you see the hypocrisy? Also, not to mention, Latinos weren't overwhelmingly involved in the BLM movement. I'm sorry. Well, not that I've seen. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But as far as I've seen in my area, no.
Many Latino voters, they believe getting closer to whiteness, politically or socially, would protect them. They believe that supporting a candidate who openly supported ICE power somehow wouldn't affect them. The idea wasn't born from ignorance. It was born from decades of conditioning in America, a system that teaches people of color to compete to closeness to whiteness, to hope that if they vote a certain way, they'll be safe. But the truth is that proximity to whiteness never guarantees acceptance, and it never guarantees protection. So now, when a vocal Trump supporter gets deported and the community reacts with shock, it exposes a painful truth. ICE is not selective. These systems do not make exceptions for political loyalty, and that is what Black Americans have been trying to tell other communities for years. You cannot empower a system built to target marginalized people and then expect that system to speak over you. That's not how history works. That's not how power works. And the reason why Black Americans are responding with this is in our fight is because Black Americans were fighting police brutality, racism, mass incarceration, and discriminatory policies. Many stood alone. They were mocked, dismissed, and even blamed for their own suffering, all while other communities ignored the struggle. That's why Black people feel exhausted, frustrated, and being used only when convenient. They feel like some groups only reach out only when they need Black people. But when it's time to stand with Black Americans, the support disappears. That cycle creates resentment. And while it may sound harsh, it's honest. Solidarity cannot be selective. You can ask for unity only during your crisis. But the communities of color will always lose when they are divided. There's no winning strategy where Black Americans, Latinos, Asians, indigenous people, any marginalized group are pit against each other while the systems affecting them remain untouched. So this moment calls for awareness, for healing, for a new way forward that isn't rooted in proximity to whiteness or political loyalty, but in understanding how these systems operate and how they affect all of us. The deportation of a pro-Trump Latino isn't just an isolated incident. It's a reminder that America's political strategies often rely on division among minorities. It's a reminder that people of color cannot outbehave racism, they cannot outvote discrimination, and they cannot align their way into immunity. And that maybe this moment will push more people to look beyond party loyalty and start asking bigger questions. Who is really protected in America? Who benefits when communities stand against each other? And what does true solidarity actually look like? So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.